Okay, so Sephiroth just got announced for Smash. Everyone's talking about it. I am ecstatic. I am freaking out over here. I did not decide to record my reactions. I wish I did, though, because I was in a call with a bunch of my friends, and if you ask them, they would tell you that I was popping off pretty hard. I did not see this coming whatsoever. Some of my personal picks for Smash characters that I was hoping for were like Neku from The World Ends With You, Reimu from Toho, and Arl from Puyo Puyo, but I wasn't expecting any of those to happen. I was 100% expecting Doom Guy to show up because of the fact that it was at the Game Awards and it was like Doom's anniversary, and Doom Eternal this year was nominated for Game of the Year. But despite all that, we did not get a Doom character. I was also expecting maybe Sora from Kingdom Hearts or maybe Dante from Devil May Cry, but that didn't happen either. No. All of a sudden, Sephiroth shows up, and it's just crazy to think about. No one truly predicted this. People were saying... There were a few people out there wishing for Sephiroth, right? I had never even thought of Sephiroth coming in. I thought that Cloud would have been it, and we would have been stuck with just Cloud and his stage and 2 songs and whatever. But no, Sephiroth's here. We're finally going to have more than 2 Final Fantasy VII music tracks in the game. We can finally have One Winged Angel. Perhaps other songs like the Genova Fight song and Crazy Motorcycle Chase. I'd really like to hear those songs. But yeah, Sephiroth looks incredible. He looks really fun to play. I think they nailed his looks. I think they nailed his moveset. They pulled a lot of his moves from Dissidia, I found, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like what they've done for some other characters, like Sonic. They pulled a lot of his moves from Sonic the Fighters. But yeah, you can see a lot of Sephiroth's moves, like Octaslash, I think is like his upper side special. I forgot the name of his counter, but I know that effect and that move is also in Dissidia. He's also got the Darkness Orb spell. Again, I don't quite remember the names of it, but I've seen those moves in Dissidia before. And of course, just the insane amount of range that Sephiroth has using the Masamune. That sword, like the 8-foot sword, you see it in his smash attacks and tilts, just how much of the stage he can cover. It looks pretty gross, but that's fine. You can also see where he almost stabs Zelda. Of course, that's a reference to the famous scene from Final Fantasy VII. I would directly tell you what happened in that scene, but I don't want to spoil anything for the 2 people watching that don't know about that one event yet. And that move was also an attack in Dissidia, I think, Hell's Gate. Another thing of note are Sephiroth's alternate costumes. Most of the colors for his alts are pretty dull and don't stand out too much, unfortunately. I know they reference the different soldier classes, just like Cloud, but unfortunately, just like Cloud, they, again, are pretty dull. Although his last 2 alts, the shirtless Sephiroth alts from the final scene of Final Fantasy VII, are really cool. I think this is the first time that we've seen shirtless Sephiroth in a while, and he looks good here, to say the least. Also, I gotta say, the stage, from the few clips that I've seen of it, the stage looks amazing. It's the Northern Crater from the end game of Final Fantasy VII. There's so many things here. There's a part where you're climbing down to reach Genova, passing through the live stream and all. There's the part with the High Wind escaping and all. There's also a shot of Meteor showing up. Like, that stage has a lot going on. I'm really glad that Sephiroth is coming to Smash Bros. Because we're finally going to get more Final Fantasy VII content. Although we did get Cloud in Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, the content outside of that was extremely sparse. We had one stage, and while the summons and overall aesthetic of the stage was pretty cool, with hazards off, the stage is just battlefield. This new stage, the Northern Crater stage, looks like it might actually be tournament legal, just with the way that the platforms are laid out, kind of on the sides and all, keeping in mind with hazards off. Another thing to keep in mind is that we'll finally get more than 2 Final Fantasy VII tracks in the game. Now, I don't know if this is going to be just One Winged Angel. You know, now we have 3 tracks. I don't know if they're gonna do something as terrible as that. Hopefully there will be a lot more tracks. With Dragon Quest, the Dragon Quest Hero coming to Smash last year, we got like, 8 tracks? A couple tracks from every game. So hopefully that means we'll get around 7 or 8 tracks along with Sephiroth, but that remains to be seen. One thing that's interesting, speaking of music, one thing that's interesting about this trailer is the fact that they played One Winged Angel, but they specifically played the remix of One Winged Angel from the Advent Children film. Thought that was really interesting. And referencing the Advent Children film, there is a lot of callbacks to that movie here. Like, the entire fight, sans like Mario and everything showing up, the entire fight sequence was basically recreated shot for shot from the Advent Children movie. Advent Children wasn't the best film in the world, but it had some cool fights. It had some really cool fights, and I guess Sakurai and everyone on the Smash team was a big fan of that movie, because they really put through the fan service for that here. Of course, with like the fight itself and the scene with Mario with the fake out was a direct callback to the scene where he stabs Cloud in that movie as well. And then there's the fact that Cloud uses Omni-Slash version 5 from the Advent Children film. And I'm guessing that's a new Final Smash that they're retroactively giving Cloud for either for his Advent Children alternate costume, or maybe he just uses it against Cloud. I mean, against Sephiroth. But the fact that he uses the fusion swords makes me think that it's gonna be common across all characters that he uses it against, just with the alternate costume where he actually uses a fusion sword. Speaking of Final Smashes, near the end of the trailer, or at the very end of the trailer, I suppose, Sephiroth turns into Safer Sephiroth from the final boss fight of Final Fantasy VII. However, it's yet to be seen what the actual attack is. Now, it's fairly obvious in my eyes that it's going to be Supernova, though I highly doubt that it will be 3 minutes long as it was in the original PlayStation game. So it'd be kind of funny if that did happen, but it's probably going to be shorter. Yeah, Sephiroth has kind of broken some fan rules that people have had. Like, in my mind, Sephiroth never really came across as a character that would be possible. I thought Cloud would come and that would be it. I thought for sure if we're going to get a character from this company, Square Enix, it would definitely be Sora, or if Sora from Kingdom Hearts. But of course, Sora from Kingdom Hearts has the issue of being partially owned by Disney, I think. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, if they can't go with Sora, they might go with another Square Enix character, like Chrono from Chrono Trigger, or possibly Geno from Super Mario RPG, because I think that Square Enix still owns the rights to that character after working on that game. And I was personally hoping that Neku from The World Ends With You would get added, seeing as how that game is getting a full anime show and a new game with Neo: The World Ends With You next year. But that doesn't mean that I'm mad that Sephiroth's here. In fact, Sephiroth being here is like probably the most excited I've ever been for a Smash character. Cloud was cool and all, but I didn't play Final Fantasy VII until a few years after Cloud was added, so like I didn't get that chance to be hyped. But this time I do. And this trailer was one of, if not the, no, This trailer is the most hyped trailer of all. Terry's trailer was cool with like the fan service and everything. The rest of the trailers were just okay. I mean, Joker's was cool. Callback to the original game. Banjo's was funny. But like none of them had that sort of like cool like X factor to them like this one did. Just everything about this trailer was perfect. But yeah, I am not mad at all that Sephiroth got in instead of Neku. Though this means that Neku probably won't come to Smash anymore, it's still really cool that Sephiroth is here. But yeah, the biggest thing that Sephiroth shows is that we can get more characters from third-party franchises that have already been represented in Smash. Like, we could get another Sonic character, we could get another Street Fighter character, anything like that, really. There's no rule saying that, oh, Cloud's in, so there's your Final Fantasy rep. No, here's Sephiroth. I think Sephiroth was an out-there pick. I'm really interested to see what future Smash reveals are going to be. There's really no telling. I mean, we could get something again like this, like Capcom. Everyone's thinking that Dante from Devil May Cry will be added. Heck, they could just add like Chun-Li or somebody, who knows. One thing that I will say is kind of disappointing is the fact that, just like with Cloud, they couldn't get any English voice actors for these characters. Because in my mind, these are always characters that I hear speaking English just because I'm so used to them speaking English in the Crisis Core, Dissidia, Final Fantasy VII Remake games, Advent Children as well. I guess Dirge of Cerberus too. I mean, the Japanese voice actors are good too, just personally I would have liked to hear them in English too. I know we're pretty late into the video now and I still haven't brought up like too much about his gameplay, but I think the one-winged angel mode, or the EX mode, I don't know what you would call it, but I think that could be a really interesting gameplay mechanic. It is yet to be seen how it works, if it's like Joker's Arsene and it's a meter that builds up, or if it's like Terry's desperation moves where you have to reach a certain percentage threshold. Maybe it'll be like Cloud's Limit and you charge it. And again, we don't exactly know what this one-winged mode does. It looks like it makes some of his attacks stronger. We can see him doing a side smash during the later part of the trailer, and it looks to act a bit differently than the side smash he used like earlier on in the trailer, unless one of the attacks just happened to be a tilt. But I think those are both smash attacks. And there's also the fact that when Sephiroth used Octaslash, the only time he used Octaslash in the trailer was during the part where he had the wing. So maybe that changes his moveset. That would be a very interesting mechanic. Just have completely different specials and all. Another thing that I'm curious about is how Sephiroth's recovery will work. Now, in my mind, at first I thought, like, oh, obviously he's going to use the wing and he's going to fly up a bit, like maybe like Pit's recovery. But the fact that the wing doesn't show up under normal gameplay until you activate it somehow makes me think that maybe the wing won't be the recovery. But if that's the case, then what will be his recovery? I'm thinking the most likely scenario is that he either uses the wing, or his up special is like Cloud's, where it goes straight up and then straight down. I'm really hoping that he uses the wing for his recovery, because recovering with Cloud for me has always been really hard. It could be sort of like Joker with Arsene, and how the up special does change between not having the wing and having the wing. Maybe his special will be a lot better when he has it. The last thing I want to touch on is the fact that Sephiroth is coming out in December, which I find extremely surprising. When it was announced that a character was going to be revealed at the Game Awards, I thought for sure that this character would come out in January or like much later, because we got to remember when Joker from Persona 5 was revealed at the Game Awards in 2018, he didn't come out until April. So I thought something like that was going to happen again, but nope. It's coming out in December. We're getting a full gameplay overview with Sakurai on Thursday. There's a slight chance that Sephiroth could release that day for download. Who knows? But I think it's really surprising that Sephiroth is completed this quickly, with Steve releasing, what, in October? It was only a few months ago. I find it kind of funny that Steve, who barely has any animation to his move, and the most simplistic model in Smash, maybe besides Mr. Game & Watch, I find it funny that Steve probably took a lot longer to develop than Sephiroth. I know that's because of the whole block mechanic and whatever, like the programming side of things was hard, not so much the modeling and animation work, but still. Needless to say, I am looking forward to Sephiroth very much. I really look forward to playing him. He's probably the DLC character that I'm interested in the most, and this is coming from someone who really liked Terry. Like, Terry was a surprise for me. Again, Terry was a situation where I thought, oh, we've already got Street Fighter characters, they're not going to add any other new fighting game characters, there's nothing else they could really do. But I was proven wrong in multiple ways there. They added Terry, and they made him unique with the desperation moves and everything. Same goes here, right? Like, people are saying we don't need another sword fighter, and yet he's got plenty of unique stuff about him. His massive range and the one-winged mode. But like with Terry, Terry comes from one of my favorite fighting games, and Sephiroth's coming from one of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy VII. And Sephiroth is also my favorite video game villain. So really look forward to seeing him. And anyways, I think that's about all I have to say about Sephiroth. I look forward to it, and that's it.